Paul King ran a couple of years ago up against Gregory Meeks. Gregory Meeks is the laziest politician in New York. I'm not sure if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but I know he's the laziest politician in New York. And Paul King, on the other hand, one of my neighbors, married to the lovely Margaret Powers, is anything but lazy and has all the right policies, and we need to find a way to get Paul King a win in 2024 if, in fact, he decides to run again against Gregory Meeks. That is my hope. With that said, here he is, the pride of Bell Harbor, my friend Paul King. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, Sid. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. So, I mean, I'll take you, every day of the week and 10 times on Sunday over George Santos. So,
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's not much of a compliment, for a guy who's got the most important radio show on the airwaves. So that's why I'm, thrilled to be here on the, the very subject you were just talking about. As you said, I ran a couple of years ago and didn't win. It's funny, people who are really into politics will tell me, we looked at the numbers and the drop off between Zeldin and you compared to most candidates was, not that big. You were really great. You're better than most. I'm like, yeah, I lost by 7 touchdowns, dude. But something you learn from my friend Tom Sullivan. You don't necessarily win the first time out. You get out there, you earn people's trust, and we need to stay in this fight because, as as you talk about all the time, things are just going the wrong way here. And I'll get right to your point. Yeah, I'm on with you this morning because I want to tell people on this show that I'm getting back in the fight.
Well, of course, you've got our whole neighborhood behind you, Rockaway, Bell Harbor, and the Ponset. But I would hope that Middle Village and Howard Beach, and I don't even know how far your district would go. But you'd be running for Congress anyway, so it'd be the whole thing. Right. We want all of Queens to vote for you. And the truth is, look, it's very simple, Paul. I've done rallies with you. You've been there to support me and Curtis and our neighborhood. Town halls, you've been there to support us. You ran a great campaign with Margaret last time around. I was very proud of you. And it's really very simple, folks. Don't make it difficult. Don't talk about common sense politicians. They don't exist. You want to take our country back, you must vote Republican. That's it. Don't start to give me, I'm going to vote for the best candidate. Okay, in every single race that I watch very, very closely, the best candidate is the Republican, especially here with Paul King against Gregory Meeks. Is that not right?
It is right. And I'm really proud of what we've been doing in Rockaway. You mentioned Bell Harbor and Rockaway. The Rockaway Republican Club's on a roll. We're growing, and we're trying to do influential stuff. We even before this horrible stuff happened on October 7th, we had Joe Hyken in to talk about anti-Semitism, have them review what we think we should be doing, all Americans should be doing. And, I've been on a roll lately personally, so with the club and with business, so I'm feeling good. But I got to tell you, a lot of days I'm also just angry because of what's happening in the country, whether it's the migrants on the border all the way to Floyd Bennett Field, our young people in the street. You realize they've been indoctrinated or brainwashed to think that it's okay somehow, or people are good people if they're murdering and raping and, humiliating people in Israel. And they're in the street, calling for intifada. They don't even know what that word means, but this is what the progressives have teachers telling our kids in school. So, we need to be able to get a Republican president in 2024. The country desperately needs that. And we need a solid Republican majority to undo all this Biden damage and to neuter these socialists once and for all. So, I want to be part of that fight nationally, but also locally. What you were talking about. We need someone who's going to do something for the people. Meeks was chair, and people do like him. He's a likable guy, but he is chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee for Biden's first 2 years. And the southern border went completely out of control. He's the chair. What did he do? He did nothing. Absolutely nothing. We have this migrant camp in Floyd Bennett Field, and you've been out there, helping us lead the fight to say, hey, this is wrong, not just wrong for us, but wrong for these people. And Meeks, for the only time in my life that I remember, actually called a civic meeting, so he must be worried that this stink's going to stick to him. And he brought civic leaders in and told us, this is a terrible idea to put people in Floyd Bennett Field, but it'll probably never happen. Well, then it happened. And what did he do? Nothing.
Nothing. And then I think you told me a story the first time you ran against him, which really stuck with me, that, he's in charge of all this low-income housing in Queens. And there were some issues, one of the buildings, I guess, if not more than one. And there was an emergency meeting that was called, and it was very, very important that he would be there for that. And yet you were there and he wasn't. He was like out of the country in Ukraine. Who knows where the hell the guy was, but his own constituents, his people in Queens, suffering, by the way, his color, suffering, he was not there for them. You were there for them. To me, that's the difference between Paul King and Gregory Meeks. Paul King cares. Gregory Meeks doesn't.
And it's like so many politicians who say, hey, I'm a regular guy. I'm one of you. I came from you. So Meeks has a great story. He grew up in NYCHA, and I knew NYCHA was bad before I started running because I have friends on the community board, but actually I ended up spending more time there. I didn't realize, people there go months. We have buildings here in Rockaway right now. People haven't had gas in months. They're trying to cook on a hot plate, feed their whole family with a hot plate. And so, those sorts of crises were happening. They keep happening. This emergency meeting was called. I don't remember where he was. He was at the World Economic Forum with the richest people in the world. He's telling you, "Oh yeah, I'm from NYCHA. That's my people." But he's the people he chooses to be with are the richest people in the world who are trying to manipulate stuff at the top. When the people who are his most needy constituents, he's not there for them.
Yeah, that's Gregory Meeks. Well, listen, I'm happy you're running. I thought you may. I think you're getting back now in 2024. You mentioned Tom Sullivan. I think he's going to give it a third try coming up in 2024, even though he won on his second try. And certainly people like you, Paul King and Tom Sullivan, we get people like you guys in government, and New York and this country will be a much better place. So I look forward to events, and all you need to do, I'm only a couple of blocks away. You and Margaret know exactly where I live, so let's get out there and kick some ass. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sid. We will, and I look forward to fighting right alongside you.
You got it, pal. There he is, Paul King, announcing he will run. He will run in 2024 against Gregory Meeks. For me, that's good news. As a Queens resident, literally live a couple blocks away from Paul and Margaret, we need Paul King to win.